All right, ladies and gents, welcome to FTP Podcast number 20. We're hitting big numbers today. Finally, 20. We're here. Sponsors, get at me. We don't have any sponsors right now. Just a, word of advice. But that being said, we got plenty of good stuff to talk about. We're talking about notable roster cuts, NFL stuff. We'll do some bold predictions. And I normally get pretty off the beaten path when I go to bold predictions. But that being said, let's get the thing rolling. Let's get started.
This is the FTP Podcast.
All right, let's start off with some notable cuts. Anybody that you might want your team to sign? Timothy Tebow. How could we talk about cuts without talking Tim Tebow? Tebow had a good preseason. Looked pretty decent as an Eagle. Still didn't make the cut. Word was Chip Kelly told him to go play in the CFL. I don't know. I think with Tim Tebow, you get these leadership qualities. And I think those are some of the things that are very important in a quarterback. And the way he played in preseason wasn't awful. I would not mind necessarily having him as a backup quarterback on my team. The only problem is the media attention that he does draw. And that is a distraction to your team. Now, if we could slow down on some of that media attention, which, in Philadelphia, it wasn't completely out of control the way it was in New York. Sure, why not? Let's do it. I think he's better than some of the backups that we have in the NFL right now. Devin Still. We all know the Devin Still story. He got cut by the Bengals. Possible that he could be brought back soon. We'll see what happens with that situation. Good player, great story. Rooting for you, Devin. All right, we got Reggie Wayne. He walked away from the Patriots. They said that was a mutual separation. Word was he didn't think the work environment was quite fun enough or whatever, and he'd still consider playing for the right situation. I think there are going to be a couple of teams that will inquire about his services. Veteran wide receiver talent is very valuable in this league, and there have been a couple of notable wide receiver injuries around the league. And there's some teams that could definitely use a guy like him. Let me just point out one, just because I think they definitely should call him, if they haven't already. Carolina, since, before Calvin Benjamin got hurt, they were already thin at wide receiver. But after Calvin Benjamin got hurt, they're even thinner at wide receiver. Why not add Reggie Wayne? Give Cam Newton somebody to throw to. Come on, baby. Gotta give the boy some help. Darnell Dockett got cut from San Fran. That's not good. That's not good. They invested in him, and he didn't think he could cut it. His career is probably on the downslope, but he probably will get another shot because he is coming off a major injury. And I normally try and say this, it takes, you can get back on the field. He's ready to get back on the field, but he's not going to be back to his old self until next season. But due to his age and things of that nature, it's going to be hard-pressed for a team to really give him another shot. He may catch on somewhere else soon, fingers crossed for that guy, but his career is probably winding down. Jason Babin, his career is definitely on the downslope. He's a pass rusher, doesn't offer a lot more to your team, but he wasn't real successful last season, and, they just decided he wasn't worth it anymore. Cut loose, he may get another shot from a pass rush needy team. So there are some out there, pass rushers are always valuable and extremely hard to find. Matt Castle, let's be serious. If they cut him from up in Buffalo. I'm going to put it to a conversation like this. For backup quarterbacks, we got a couple of them that are available right now that were just cut from the guys that were cut. Josh Freeman, Matt Flynn, Matt Castle, Tim Tebow. Of those four, who would I want to quarterback my team if my starter went down? It's not Matt Castle. It ain't Matt Flynn. And it ain't Josh Freeman. I picked Tim Tebow out of the four. If I had to get a backup quarterback from those four guys, Tim Tebow is my clear-cut favorite. Matt Flynn has been cut so many times, it's not even funny anymore. It's like we signed Matt Flynn just to cut him. We want to be part of the group too at this point. Josh Freeman, his career, clearly he's not dedicated to the game. He has had such a roller coaster over the past couple of years. And when you go from being a starter and a guy that's being talked up as, the hope of a franchise to being almost out of the league, there's a problem. Wouldn't want him on the field for my guys. Matt Castle, he's been so wishy-washy, and when you can't beat out E.J. Manuel, there's a problem, because E.J. hasn't exactly proven a lot in the NFL, and just going back to, my draft evaluations, didn't think he was a first-round talent. Just saying, Buffalo kind of reached. All right, let's do some season previews. Couple of teams to watch. I'm going to give you 3. I got 3 teams that I think are going to be making just a little bit of noise this season that may not be on your radar quite yet. The St. Louis Rams didn't do a whole lot at the beginning of last season, but they started to get things turned around. They got their quarterback now. They got a running back that they're going to ease into action who, if he can get up to full speed for the end of the season, could be very, very dangerous. They have some quality young receivers if they can keep those guys healthy, but most importantly, they have a defensive line that is probably the deepest and most talented in the NFL right now. So they're going to be a team that I think is poised to take the next step. I think they are poised to, if they cannot unseat Seattle as that NFC West champion, they will at least be pushing for a wild card spot. So watch out for the St. Louis Rams. All right, I got another one for you. Let's say the Miami Dolphins. Ryan Tannehill had a very good preseason, and each year he's been at the helm of that Dolphins team, he's taken one step forward. Now, Jarvis Landry is going to be his go-to guy this year. He's a guy that, coming out of LSU, I had high hopes for, but everyone kind of knocked him because he didn't have top-end speed. The boy has hands and loves the game. Plain simple, the kid can play. They also added another guy that I love in the draft this year, Jay Ajayi. He's not going to come into the season playing a large role for them. But as the season progresses, if Lamar Miller gets banged up, you could see Ajayi coming in to play a heavier role with that team, which could be very helpful for them down the stretch. His running style is perfect for the NFL if he can stay healthy. Then on their defensive side, they added Ndamukong Suh to go along with already having Cameron Wake. Come on, that defensive line is going to give some teams some problems and could be someone that you want to watch out for. The Dolphins may be making a little bit, just a wee little bit of noise this season. All right, I got one more team for you. And this one may be a bit of a stretch, but that's what, I normally do. Let's try Jacksonville on for size. I think they're getting ready. They've had a young team for years now. I think Gus Bradley understands that his passes as a head coach are coming to an end. I think Blake Bortles isn't a rookie anymore. He's got game experience. They've got a couple of receivers there that I really like, namely one, Allen Robinson. I think they added Julius Thomas, even though he's a little banged up right now. But they also added a running back who's NFL ready, and he's been NFL ready for a while now. T.J. Yeldon. He's going to come in and be able to be helpful for them. I think that offensive line is going to be a bit improved this year for them on the offensive side. So I'd like to see them take that next step on offense. And that defense has never really been completely awful. Not great. The offense definitely never did them any favors. But the defense, I think, will be able to hold its own a little bit better this year. They've got a few players that have gotten another year of playing experience. They also, tweaked a few pieces, moved some guys around. I think they are ready to go, and I think Jacksonville may not be a playoff team this year, but they're not going to be that give-me win that they've been for years past. I think they're going to fight hard. They're going to push some guys, and if you play them late in the season, they're a team that I'd be marking on my schedule saying, I'm not going to sleep for this game because they're looking to be a playoff spoiler. So Jacksonville Jaguars are a team that I'd be on the lookout for because they're definitely, I think, on an upswing. All right, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit of college football, baby.
This is the FTP Podcast.
All right, college football week 1 is in the books. And, I don't really want to make too many rash judgments based on week 1. There weren't a whole lot of just, monumental matchups this week. I didn't see a whole lot of matchups that I think I can make a lot of justifications based on. I can say one, I was not pleased with the outing from TCU. Boykin has got to do better. If that's the guy that he is, then TCU's in trouble. Let's see, who else? Like I said, there weren't a lot of matchups. It's hard to judge these guys, especially, normally week one, you kind of want to get a game. Most teams try and book a game that you can win. So that way you can get your season going on the right foot. I think Tennessee showed some good stuff in week one. They had 8 scoring touchdowns in less than 2 minutes, but they're an SEC program playing against Bowling Green. So while Bowling Green isn't a bad football team, I don't think Tennessee should have had any trouble playing them. So while that's a good stat, am I really saying, oh my God, the Vols are going to win the SEC? No. Far from that conclusion. I was impressed by the Aggies knocking off number 17 Arizona State. That's impressive. People are sleeping on them. I think they're not quite ready for the big jump this year. But give me one more year, maybe 2, and I think they're possibly a national championship contender. They still have some young guys, some sophomores that are playing major roles for them. Give them a little bit more field time, a little bit more experience. I think next year the Aggies could be someone to watch out for. But seriously, outside of that, I was disappointed with Stanford. I was majorly disappointed with them. But I didn't see a whole lot that I can there weren't enough matchups with talent on talent that I could say I can start making justifications, start making guesses, start saying, this is who you are, this is what you are, this is where they are, this is what they need to do. I saw a lot of teams, go out and play the game and do well and grab a win. Obviously, some programs didn't quite pull that off, but, it happened. But, like I said, I don't want to, it's hard for me. I always say week one is normally more about learning about your team than winning. And I think that's why coaches, you see a lot of these FBS schools playing Division I programs or smaller Division I programs playing major Division I programs in week one for that exact reason. The head coaches are looking to learn about their team. And it's hard to learn. In my perspective, it's hard for me to make a justification about a guy just because he was able to dominate against a guy who was clearly a lower level talent. So I'm not going to make too many justifications just based off week one. But let's go and take a quick peek at some Heismans. We got a couple of guys rolling. One of the guys that I mentioned earlier, Derrick Henry, had a big game against Wisconsin. And he's the Heisman candidate that I think won week one. That outing, 3 touchdowns, man. Wisconsin's no pushover either. So I think he's the Heisman candidate for me, or the preseason Heisman candidate that won week one. So if I had to vote right now, I'd vote for him. But I think if he can keep that kind of momentum going, he's going to definitely be a tough out. And the way he plays is exactly what we expected. And he had a couple of big runs coming in the second half of that game, because he in the first he is such a big guy. He just wears you down. Oh gosh. Quick update on one Heisman candidate. I'm not gonna say any names, but someone had been telling me that they were really excited to see what Connor was going to do. He's out for the season. Like I said, not quite a Heisman guy. That being said, we're moving on. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. We're getting a little tight on time. I've been running my mouth just a smidge. All right, for a moment in sports history, in 1986, Dan Marino threw his 100th career touchdown pass. That was the fastest quarterback in NFL history to do that. 100. It's not bad. Thanks again for listening. I love doing this. I love running my mouth. But we need a little backing. You can always just shoot us an email. Find us on Twitter. Tweet at us. FTP_tweets. You can find us on Instagram. Go comment on some of the stuff from the Press Box. You can go like us on Facebook from the Press Box. You Google from the Press Box. We'll pop up yet again. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with 21 legal next week. Deuces.